And welcome back to another episode of the HBA After Hours podcast produced by your local HBA of Greater Kansas City. As always, I'm your host, Will Reuter, the Executive Vice President here at the KCHBA, and with me is my co-host,
Keith Sorrow, publisher of Design KC and the Real Estate Book. And here we are again. It feels like we just did this yesterday, but it doesn't seem like it. Is that true?
No, every day feels like a vacation though with you, Keith. It's a real pleasure to have you.
That's great. Hey, today's episode is sponsored by our good friends at McCray Lumber.
McCray Lumber. Shout out to Brian Keller, KCHBA board member and McCray employee. Appreciate all you guys do for us. Oh, and the title sponsor of the upcoming KCHBA golf tournament.
That is right. That is right. McCray, I'm sure I'm going to use all the course.
Yeah, use every square inch.
Every bit of it.
Maybe a couple of backyards that you can sprinkle
Possibly.
in for free.
I understand the HBA sponsors if you break a window because we have so much help.
For legal purposes, that is absolutely not true. But we do have some wonderful window manufacturers and installers, of which
and they
McCray
happen to
does
be
some
members.
of that.
That's right.
So no free ads at the HBA. McCray is a tremendous sponsor of the HBA, and we appreciate them very much. But without further ado, got a very VIP guest,
Big time.
Very important president of the KCHBA.
Senor
and that
Presidente.
is Joe Christensen. Welcome,
Hey, Joe.
Thank you. Wow, you guys got your radio voices down.
You do?
Like they kind of took me by surprise.
And we've got our faces for radio on point.
I have a face for radio. I can't not go any further without talking about Joe's hair. Joe, you're killing me.
You were
that.
in makeup for a little long today. So
That's right.
You look great for it.
Welcome, Joe.
Thank you. Yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah.
Well, Joe, this is the house that builders built, and this is the building that hosts our organization and represents the industry that we care so much about. So, Joe, tell us just a little bit about yourself, how you came to be here in the hot seat.
Okay, I'll give the short version, and we can ask about the long one some other day, maybe at a golf tournament or something.
There you go.
So yeah, Joe Christensen, co-owner of Cardinal Crest Homes. I'll give the short version of how that came to be. 15 years ago, 2010-11, if you remember that time, it was pretty destitute. Mm-hmm. It was
just bouncing back, trying.
Well, trying. 2011 actually is where it hit bottom. The permits actually bottomed out that year, and then it started to climb, which that was not by design. That was sure dumb luck that we called it on that day, on that year. But so that was the year I was graduating college. I had gone back to college. I was 28 years old, and I still remember being in the construction management program at Brigham Young University in Utah. And when 2009 happened, the lecture hall after that whole crash happened, where all the students that were signed up or wanted to be in the construction management program literally thinned out by 50%.
Wow.
The next semester, they were just gone. People were just leaving the construction.
They just jumped ship.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, I'm not sticking in this industry.
I can't tell you how many people, like family members, friends, who told me to just be like, you know what, I don't know if construction's ever coming back like it used to. I'm originally from Las Vegas. I mean, some of the biggest mentors or people that I looked up to in construction went completely belly up. Not just like, and a lot of people don't know that because they didn't live through that recession, but it was a tidal wave. And like, people didn't just lose a little bit or had a hard time. They lost it all. And it was a really...
When Reflection Bay dries up,
yeah,
right? The lake... Reflection Bay.
There you go.
Literally, because I lived in Vegas too, and I had a magazine in Las Vegas. It was a relocation guide, and we needed one for people moving out at that point in time. It completely flipped.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, all my family and friends were kind of very bleak on the industry as well, and so I was graduating during that time, right after it, and literally didn't have any prospects. I think the only job offer I got was out of like Las Cruces, New Mexico, for a builder. And I looked over at my wife and she's like, no, not that one.
Spousal veto.
And yeah, exactly. And literally the job offers I was getting was just like a little bit above minimum wage. And so, my parents had purchased a farm out here north of Kansas City, and I had known the area. And so I had come out here and helped my brother finish a basement. And I looked at a lot of different parts of the country just to move because I was like, you know what? I could work for a builder and make minimum wage, or I could work at Home Depot and start a remodel company.
Yeah.
Because like I don't know, the right now the upsides are not great either way, and I'm like I don't have anything to lose. And we landed on Kansas City because a family that was here with that finishing that basement, I kind of got a little bit of my feet wet with the subcontractor base. And so we decided, you know what, let's just try it. And so we moved out here first, my wife and I, and then Adam Schaefer, my business partner, he moved out here later. I still remember pulling up, and this is no
Was
dig.
Adam from Las Vegas as well?
He's from Sacramento,
Okay.
California. And I remember
How'd you guys meet? Sorry to interrupt.
same.
That's cool.
Yeah, we were both in the construction
Got it,
management
got
program.
it.
Actually, we both competed. Here, I'll tell you this backstory again. I'm kind of bouncing everywhere. We both competed in the National Association of Home Builders, NHB student program, student competition. They do it every year. They still do it. And now they've divided it so they have like a custom home section and then they have like a production home. This one was just a production home, a student competition. It's like BYU calls it their capstone projects. It takes 6 months, very intense, especially if you want to place, if you want to win. And BYU usually places very well. The year prior, they had won first, so it was kind of
You
like
had to
lot of
catch it.
pressure.
You're like,
Yeah.
I gotta go. Yeah.
well, I mean,
Make it happen.
spoiler alert, we got third. And I won't tell you all the reasons and bitterness why. But long story short, Adam and I took that project very serious. And it's like a full-time job. You create a business on paper. You do a market study. This competition was in North Carolina, and it was a on-your-lot, scattered lot builder who was production but scattered lot. The way they do it kind of in that is they have like a row of homes off the freeway. You kind of come and select your home and they'll build it anywhere, scattered lot. Kind of like I think, was it David Weekley Homes does that in Texas. Anyway, long story short, we actually created that logo and name of Cardinal Crest for that project.
No way.
Cardinal's
That's
the
great.
state bird of North Carolina. The Appalachian Mountains crest is, I came up with that name. I had my sister-in-law create the logo. Fast forward, no prospects. We said, you know what, we love that name. We love the logo. We're just going to keep it. And we're going to move to Kansas City.
Wow.
And so, funny enough, all those other guys that were on that competition team kind of laugh at us because they were part of that group and that false company that we made in North Carolina that has now become Cardinal Crest 15 years later.
There you go.
What a story.
Yeah, so then we moved here, really had nothing, right? We didn't know anybody. Like looking back, I did the hardest thing I could ever think of. Moved somewhere where I had no roots. And honestly, like I attended the home show. I paid for a booth at the home show, tried to do basement remodels, anything I could. I flyered, I knocked doors. And then eventually I raised a bunch of money from a bunch of different random people to do a first spec home in Copperleaf up in the Northland. And that was my first home, although I was able to land a couple of remodels on the way. And I mean, we just did anything and everything. We did a lot of free work to get our name out there. And it kind of just started to spiral until it established the name that we are today.
It's incredible. Now, you said your parents had a farm out here.
Yeah.
What got them? Why'd they think of that? They just decided they wanted to get out of the desert? What was it?
Well, funny enough, like my family's kind of always done a little bit of side hustle farming. My grandpa had a farm that grew alfalfa and had cattle in Utah. And so we would go there a lot on the weekends in the summer. And
A 2-hour drive, right?
yeah,
From Vegas, something
not
like that?
far. Yeah, actually, it was in Beaver, Utah, which is about 3 hours right outside of Cedar City. And I have 5 brothers, and so I think my parents were like, "How do you raise 6 boys?
We better grow food.
Yeah, without having them kill each other or have my parents kill us." And ultimately, they were like, "Let's get a farm and make them sweat it out in the Missouri heat
go.
with the ticks and chiggers." It kind of worked, I
Yeah,
guess.
kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
And
here
you
you
didn't,
are.
and you didn't hate it so much that you swore off Missouri for the rest of
honestly,
your
I
life.
did
and now
hate
you're
it.
here.
I mean, that's the crazy part. I can't believe not to sidetrack too much, but all my brothers relocated here. We're all here.
No kidding.
Yeah, we all do
That's
different
cool.
things. I got a couple dentists, orthodontists. One's a farmer. One's an e-commerce guy. We all, two of them live in my neighborhood. Well, three of them essentially live in Shoal Creek, right by me.
Incredible story.
That's
Yeah.
great. Well, this is an industry of hustlers, right?
Oh,
And
heck yeah.
people that have just bootstrapped it. I mean, there's always this perception that the industry is almost like a monarchy, where it's just handed down generationally, and but it's a whole industry of entrepreneurs and risk takers and survivors, frankly,
Oh yeah.
because this is not a predictable way of life.
No, I mean, I don't, you know, I'm sure there are other industries that are very cyclical, but you know, it's being highlighted right now, and it was highlighted a lot last year when the Fed really started raising the rates and it started impacting mortgage rates. You can really see how housing is at the mercy of different parts of the economy that we have zero control over. Now, there is a little bit of a supply and demand of growth in cities and like demographics that definitely help. They give us some tailwinds or headwinds. But then there's all these other headwinds that we literally have no control
Right.
of how the mortgage spreads are set or how mortgages are set. And that does one way or another, even at our high, we're more high end now with the custom homes and the price point, stock market still becomes a barometer of people's feelings. And so some of those things it's an interesting industry.
There's no rebuttal for I don't feel like it.
right.
Right? I have the money, but I don't feel like
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
And so it's an industry that we're at the mercy of other people sometimes, of the tone and the success of it. You can grind as hard as you want, but some things just the chips land where they land.
Yeah. And I mean, since this has turned into an ag and home building crossover episode, it's kind of like the farmer that's praying for rain.
You're right.
And either it does or it doesn't. And,
He has no control.
The ability to put food on the table and food on the table of others is contingent on entirely something he's got no control over, nor does anybody else.
Right.
So in a world and an industry and there's lots of industries, I'm sure that there's things like with me, I can't control paper. I can't control ink. That stuff's going through the roof. I can't control shipping. Those are my crosses, right? I got people, I got ink, I got paper. That's my world, right? But here you are in things you can't control, but yet still thriving. So how did you maneuver through some of this as, you continue to grow and the business got strong and then interest rates affected you a little bit, right? How did you continue to thrive?
That's a really good question. In a market that gets skinny, I think the same thing with I like the comparison, the ag and home building construction crossover. When the tide, comes in, or I don't know that, is it in or out when it comes closer to the shore? That's a horrible parable.
I should know that. I'm from Boston. I think it's in.
Yeah.
Tide's coming in. Tide went out. It's low tide. Tide's coming in. It's
So
high tide.
the parable I'm trying to, or the analogy I'm trying to make is that, in tough times, everyone gets a little exposed, right? You get to see who's naked in the ocean, I guess. You get to see what their swim trunks look like. And I think that's kind of happened this last couple of years. And it happened when I first started. Although I was very new in 2011, I wasn't exposed as other builders. I didn't have any debt. I didn't have overhead. Just me. And my wife really supported us a lot she cut hair, and she was a beautician, which was really, she made the money. And I was able to really just kind of focus on trying to get clients and get a book of work. I think this last couple of years have exposed my business too. You get to see where the fat is. You get to see, well, gosh, our overhead, do we really need this? Do we really need that? And I think this last couple of years, as permits have softened, have gotten a lot less, you have to tighten up the screws on everything, and you become more efficient. That's one great thing about recessions or downturns, is that you start to see, okay, what is the most efficient use of my time here in marketing? and building and, all across the board in personnel. I would say for us, you know, uh, I think it's really important, and no matter what kind of business you have, is to really find your niche or niche, however you want to pronounce that, um, and stick to it and kind of run with it. And I'm not saying you can't have different silos of niches, because I do. Like, we'll talk about that in a second, of the different things that we've done to diversify. But we do custom homes, and Cardinal Crest Homes is custom homes that we design in-house. We do the interior design, and then we build them. That's our niche. I can't build a semi-custom. I can't build a home that's a price point, that's a production home. There's some great builders, and I refer, when I get people who ask me, for certain price points, it's hard for me to build anything that's under 1.2. And so anything under that, I usually refer out, because that's my niche. And so I've found out over the years, you just can't be everything to everyone. And I know that's a cliche thing. And I think that really helps, because it starts getting you to be laser focused on a lot of different things. Once you know a niche, okay, like custom homes, my marketing now becomes way more focused and way more, pinpointed to that clientele. Everything starts being catered towards that. And when you are trying to cast too wide of a net, the marketing and messaging gets a little mixed.
It's fogged.
Right. I mean, I think even like when you look at let builders build and all that, and how the HBA itself, how it's grown in its marketing to become a lot more honed in on what the messaging is. As I've been at the HBA, I've seen the same thing with my company. As you grow and really focus on your niche, then people can relate to your company, and they know where to put you. And there's a little bit of psyche with that, right? In marketing.
Sure.
And so people, and then not only that, you go through marketing, then all of a sudden you go with subcontractors. You start focusing on the subcontractors who can produce high quality craftsmanship that people are expecting with that brand. Goes now to your processes, down to everything. I think even the way you budget, a niche really starts helping you hone in on your business. And now, like I said, I think you can have different silos still. I mean, we do commercial construction,
Right.
we do multifamily development, but that is a separate niche that's siloed differently. But I'm not trying to be every time. I don't do any industrial development, industrial
Sure.
warehouses.
That's a totally different animal.
Thing, and I don't want to get into that. And so I think you can be siloed in different things, but you got to find a niche so that you can market, you can get good at it, and that you can really be the master of that side. Be a craftsman of whatever that is.
That's great.
Yeah, I think that's applicable to most things, right? In the sense that the more confusion that you create or add to, the harder it is for people to define how it is that you fit into their own life.
100%.
And when you're talking about custom homes, or you're talking about cars or whatever, these are significant transactions, and the lack of clarity adds time. And as we know, in building and development, time adds money.
100%.
And the longer it takes to get to a decision point, the more the outcome is uncertain.
Right.
And certainty is the thing we all crave in our personal lives and in our professional lives. It's what we ask for from city councils and county commissions all the time is, hey, if your process is going to stink, it's better to know that up front so we can plan around it.
Right.
Or if you say it's going to be great and it winds up stinking, that's also a problem. I would rather be pleasantly surprised than unpleasantly surprised.
Right.
But I know I'm going to be surprised one way or another. But, Joe, Kansas City is an interesting place to land, because Kansas City, every market will say this, right? We're the most unique market. There's nobody like us. And to a degree, that's true. But Kansas City really is kind of a bird of its own feather.
Oh, 100%.
Well, especially coming from Las Vegas, where you had the Coffin and Brones and the Pulte's and
I worked for some production builders.
Yeah, you probably learned a lot from
Yep.
them. What to do, what not to do, all that. We learned that from everybody. I remember in my neighborhood in Summerlin, where we were building, $170,000 home in '97. Okay.
Yeah.
Crazy, right? But when they were building, I left my house one morning, and when I came back, 6 homes were framed.
Oh yeah.
The circus came to town. Yeah.
2,200, right? 2,200 homes they built. So get back to your question because I know where you're going.
Hold
with
on a
this.
second. I want to
Yeah.
just tell you. So one of my first jobs was asphalt in Las Vegas.
Oh, boy.
A company called A&A Asphalt. Their logo was kicking asphalt all day long, something like that. And they were really proud of their logo. It was kind of goofy and funny. But we did all the patching and seal coating for the Del Webb communities in,
Oh, boy.
in Summerlin and like in Green Valley in Las Vegas. And they wanted their streets black. Like that was their staple of like, this is a Del Webb community. We want it as black as can be. And so they would reseal coat these streets all the time, especially after construction. And they would then do it again. And it was the hottest job on earth because Vegas is hot. I mean, it was like a night job. When I actually had to do asphalt, you do it at night in the summer because it's just miserable.
It is.
But I walked streets marking out patches all the time.
And your shoes get gummy.
100%.
In August, seriously, your
Yes.
shoes get gummy walking on that asphalt.
And
Did I
like,
step in gum?
oh yeah.
Nope, that's my shoe melting.
100%. And it was an interesting thing because, like I said, they wanted those streets as it was like they're like, streets paved in gold. No, streets paved in black gold seal coating. So
Texas cheese.
yeah, exactly. Anyway, sorry.
No, I love a good asphalt segue. But going back, Kansas City is its own thing, and you certainly have discovered it. But from a builder standpoint, from the president of the HBA standpoint, and for somebody that's got a network that's nationwide, maybe even international, considering your involvement in the international.
He said he got his hair in Turkey.
Yes,
No, just
it's
kidding.
all turkey hair.
That's au natural. That's not store-bought stuff right there, man. No, synthetic. But from your perspective, how would you describe the uniqueness of Kansas City? And that's a two-sided coin, right? Good and bad, just like everything.
I don't have a quick way to describe it, but shortly, like what other? So I'm part of a Builder 20 group, and I rub shoulders with a lot of builders just through social media and whatnot. I mean, we build in 2 states, so right away, like that kind of somebody said something to me the other day about taxes and a real estate transaction. They're like, oh, well, that one's in a different state, and we'd have to do this. And I was like, that's not that big of a deal.
That's standard operating procedure.
Yeah, exactly. Here. Like we have to file in 2 different states. You have to, think about sales tax and all these insurance and all that. And then the other side of it, and luckily Missouri and Kansas play, they play well with each other most of the time.
Unless you're competing for a professional sports
Exactly.
team.
Then they're enemies, and one will give away the farm and the horses and everything else. So I think one thing that's really unique is the amount of different. So there's not a state permitting or state license is what I should say. And you and I have talked about that. And so I have 20 different business licenses in all these different cities, and then also states, and then also different your business license. But then you have to make sure your construction license or your general contractor's license is up to date in all these different other cities. And it's really, I feel like all the time we're like, oh, that business license expired. And that kind of seems like, well, how could you let your business license expire? Well, as a contractor, exactly, which one? One of the 20. Well, we hadn't built there for a year, so that's why it expired. Do we need it? Or I don't know. We don't have anything on the books for that. Maybe not. Maybe we'll let it expire. And so there is a uniqueness that we have all these different cities that we build in, and there's not a uniform code that they adopt. They adopt versions of the IRC, and then we have different licensing, different taxes, different little things, and then different processes around inspections, the way they interpret that code, the way they do plan review. And so it's unique that it's so divided in that sense. And you do get like the things that we've talked about in the past. You get some cities that are very easy to work with. And I shouldn't say like easy, like, oh yeah, we got away with something. That's not what it's about. We're building a custom home. The code is the bare minimum. I don't care what any city official might think. For me as a builder and most builders, I would say at the HBA, think of the code as, hey, that's the bare minimum. We're building well above that. We're trying to build quality homes here. But the interpretation of the code is where it gets really, really fuzzy. And that's what causes delays in plan review or inspections, is because that interpretation can then get held up on literally, is it this detail in the code book or is that detail? And then you have months of discussion around that while home sits. And so those are some of the hard things about it. good things, I mean, I think it's you gotta build in a lot of different random places. I build in downtown Kansas City, urban areas, around Hospital Hill and Beacon Hill. We get to build some really cool, modern, unique 3-4 story homes there, and then I build out way out in the country on a farm that's 30 acres. It has a winding mile-long road lined with trees and all that. So
Don't forget to send that to Andrea so she can see it.
yeah, amen, right? So I think with all the diversity, you get to you get to build so diverse amount of homes and different things, and keeps our job fun and unique every day.
Yeah, I've told people that a metro area's group of contractors is reflective of the metro's culture. And so we look at our contractor base, and by any definition, it's very fragmented. A relatively large number of builders and developers doing a relatively small number of homes per person. Well, why would that be? It's because of the regulatory fragmentation within each jurisdiction. You cross a street, you're in a different zip code, you're in a different town. But I mean, most people can hit a golf ball a lot further than I can, but even I can hit a golf ball into this next jurisdiction. It's that short away.
That blew my mind. What you're bringing up, I remember when I came here, that blew my mind, the amount. And that was one reason, funny enough, and sorry to interrupt, but that's one reason why we chose Kansas City, is that we said, well, at the time, no national builders, not even a regional builder. The other, and I don't even know if Rush Coleman was around at that point.
Probably, no, not around that time.
Yeah, about 2010, 11. And so that seemed really enticing to us because, the largest builder was like, at that time, maybe Summit Homes.
Well,
And
yeah, you got to be thinking I can compete.
Yeah,
right? How can I compete with somebody building 2,000 homes?
yeah,
a year?
especially coming from Vegas, that seemed very enticing.
Right.
Once you get in the weeds of it, it's kind of, there's a lot of minutia in having all these builders. Now, luckily, I think the HBAs, this is a great home for so many of them, and that's what I think creates a lot of glue with all these small builders, because there is. I mean, I don't. I know the HBA now has 320 something builders.
There's about 320 companies in the metro pulling single family permits. So yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. And which is a tremendous number of builders that are starting 4,000 single family homes a year. I mean, you just think about that. It's not your big rinse and repeat companies that dominate a market like ours.
What's the average builder now? Building in Kansas City, do we know that number?
12 to 15 is what our membership is
somewhere
doing.
around there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, NAHB, the average number of homes started by a member builder of NAHB is 6.
Whoa.
So you think, oh, NAHB, that's this big, corporate home building, mouthpiece. It's not. It's like the community bank. It's like the small entity that are, really relies on that peer network to make their own projects work in places that are not generating headlines when it comes to housing.
That kind of,
Interesting.
It's one cool thing about our industry, and it's part of my story, and it's part of a lot of people's stories that I think it's a blue collar story, is that in construction, where else can you go and kind of just use a lot of grit and either get hired and start working for somebody, which I had previously worked for, and Adam's father's was a custom home builder in California, and then eventually start your own business and do 1, 2, 3 homes a year, or be an electrician and work for somebody, then get licensed and then start your own company. Like it is, like you said, it is full of entrepreneurs. And the industry itself kind of is ripe to generate that, and it allows people. I mean, it's a really cool industry for people to want to, quote unquote, have that American dream of starting something, making something of themselves, and doing it on themselves, or working for a company as well. But it breeds entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
I don't know, we could probably unbox that, why it does. There's a lot of reasons it does, but it is interesting how, when I just think about the general membership in our own Kansas City, on how many of them are self-starter entrepreneurs who started it all themselves.
Right.
You have inadvertently reinforced a common message that I've shared with parents and young people that are, exploring the trades. Whether it's through one of the many workforce development relationships we've got with school districts around the metro, is that this industry offers the fastest or best path to entrepreneurship that
Yeah.
exists in the American economy today.
It does.
Because of the accumulation of these transferable skills that go with you wherever you go.
Yeah.
And
And the need. There is a tremendous need. Now, maybe people don't have the money to do exactly what they want, but there's such a need. There's opportunity out there. If you do good work and you're willing to find it, you'll get it.
yeah, and it's crazy because this industry is actually one whose current participants are eager to teach their competition.
Yeah.
Because they know better competition provides for a better product.
Agreed.
And at the end of the day, who wins?
Right.
The American home buyer, the Kansas City home buyer, because you get more for your dollar in a place like Kansas City than you get anywhere else.
Sure you do.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's probably because, well, I know it is. It's because each builder does such a small amount. Is how do they differentiate themselves? They don't own all the land. They don't own all the lots. And they don't own a certain, region like that. Their name is so strong. So that's usually through quality and design that they have to establish a name. And so I think it's made, I think the quality of homes a lot better here in Kansas City.
Sure.
You said something that was interesting, and I almost forgot my thought in it. But I think we love social media. We've been a part of social media for a long time.
I was going to ask you about that.
and
'Cause
it's-
you have some really fun social media.
Well, it has. It's
Become a thing.
Yeah, and I would say back to your other question you said, like how do we thrive in a downturn or a tough market? Social media has been massive for us. I mean, I think any entrepreneur who's not using social media, you're shooting yourself in the foot. Like you shouldn't. There's
It's
a
an
whole.
important piece. There's no question.
Where else can you communicate on scale? Where else is a communication channel could reach millions of people at free, like free? And I'll tell you, everyone feels like an idiot on social media until you're not. And I still feel like an idiot. And I've had multiple viral videos. Let me tell you, just because you have those videos doesn't make it all of a sudden not awkward to be caught selfieing and talking to a camera, and somebody walks around the corner and is like, "Hey, what are you doing?" You're like, "Whoa!" Like,
Generating content.
yeah,
leave me alone.
yeah.
Mom, get out.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, the
That's
most
great.
cringy thing that happens is my wife and my kids will watch a video, and I walk in hearing my voice, and they're like snickering, and I'm like, "Oh no, turn it off!" But anyway, I say that because social media has been so huge for us, and it has its good and bad. We can talk about that all day long. But the good of it is, you had mentioned it, Will. This industry has become even more so about abundance of knowledge and not scarcity. And because of social media, I think it's even like kind of ratcheted that up even more, that abundance attitude that like, hey, if we teach everybody about this, the whole industry will get better as a whole, and we all will benefit from being better. And I've seen social media has done that a lot for me.
Yeah, I believe it. So now as you maneuver through, right? So now you're busy, very busy. Now step into your role, right? As the 6 months, right? You're 6 months now president of the HBA, right? What were the aha moments? Where did you go, oh my gosh, I had no idea this was going to happen, or I had no idea I was going to learn that, or...
Oh, that's tough. I mean, so the one thing, when you join the ladder, you kind of get a good glimpse of what you're about to run into for the first couple of years, which is a great design by the HBA. And I don't know if I don't know enough. I assume every HBA is somewhat ran like that. So just to describe what that is, a couple poor souls in the HBA will try to rope other poor souls to join the ladder and be indentured servants to the HBA. And what that means is at first you're, the secretary, or the
Secretary Treasurer. Yeah.
Secretary Treasurer. See, thank you. We need Will here to set me straight.
Per the bylaws.
Per
That's
the
what it's called,
exactly. And so you get a glimpse of what, and
right.
eventually you'll kind of, get to be the president, as long as you don't screw up too many things. And so I think the biggest thing, as I've learned, not just this year, but as I've sat through board meetings, one, the HBA here is a massive resource, and I still think, and I blame myself for not, pushing this even more. I still think it's underdeveloped or underutilized for the membership. I underutilize the resource the HBA is, and for so long, 15 years, and I don't think I really became active in the HBA, although I was a member from the beginning, put homes in the parade of homes. I don't think I really became active for like maybe 8 years ago, maybe it was 10, but and it was, I always will remind Dennis Shriver's the one who really, I blame him for it being, what I do today. But most people who join don't realize, they'll just, like me, just sign up. Okay, this is great. I'll put a home in the parade. But they don't come to the meetings. They don't come to the happy hours. They don't come to the events. And I still wish I could go to more. And you could be overwhelmed. I mean, even as a president right now, I feel sometimes overwhelmed, like I should be doing more. But long story short, just coming here and rubbing shoulders. What's the number one resource of the HBA? What would you say? Actually?
Knowledge.
Okay.
And networking with
Right.
people that have the knowledge.
That's it.
Right.
So if you want the number one resource that the HBA is, you cannot get that resource without being active.
Right.
You have to go and do the events. And people are real, I was so intimidated by the HBA when I first moved here because I was a young kid who knew nothing and was trying to start a home building company because I had no other choice. It
was either I'm going to
sink or
starve
swim.
or
Right. And so for me, I stayed away because I was nervous. Probably I stayed away because I was intimidated. And now that I'm here, I'm like, that's the last thing I would have probably. I would have got there faster. I would have got there faster. I would have made less mistakes. I would have made more money for sure and not paid for so many things. If I would have joined, if I would have not just joined, but I would have rubbed shoulders, done all the events. Now, sure, you're going to come to a network event and the first one might be a total bust and you talk to two people and you're like, no one was even there. I'm sure people,
Sure.
I probably did the same thing. I didn't meet anyone. But that's not how networking is.
Right.
We all know that. It happens slowly. It's and the more you show up, people, then you start recognizing, you get the inside jokes because you did a
100%.
Did a golf tournament with those guys, and they introduce you to this person. And at the end of the day, people like doing business who they like. They like
Right.
enjoying. They like to spend time with, and that's why networking is important.
That's
and
great.
Being involved in any way possible.
Yeah, you got to date your HBA. What you're saying.
You
You got to put
do.
yourself out there.
You do.
And
Maybe you'll find a match.
That's-
Swipe right till you find a match.
that's what I hear. But you got to put yourself out there. Just like, oh man,
I mean, that's a great idea.
I'm
You
all
know,
by myself here.
Let's do that speed dating.
Oh boy, I just came up
I
with
mean
like a
business
dozen
dating.
reasons not to. But yeah,
Business speed dating is what I meant.
but
It's a family show.
Again, nothing happens in life without some, calculated risk being undertaken.
100%.
And someone might think, the HBA, it's not expensive when you look at how much stuff costs related to housing, but it's also not cheap. And so it's designed that way to make sure if I'm paying for this, I'm going to go try to take advantage of it. It's
Yeah.
an incentive to get people involved.
And I would
because-
say it is cheap if you actually take advantage of it. It's gonna feel it is really cheap because of the knowledge base of that.
I don't understand why anyone. I'm not a builder. I don't know what the builders pay. But as an associate member, if you want to work with builders and architects and designers and people in the trade, if you can't find whatever the fee is, $700 or whatever it is a year, if you're balking at that, you got way bigger problems.
It's a commitment, and that's what I understand it because I did it at the beginning too.
Yeah. Well, Joe, obviously it's my job to speak very highly of the HBA because I do love this place. I love the people that are doing it. It's people that work for a living. Anything the HBA can do to, not eliminate, because that can never be your metric about whether or not you're successful. Not eliminate the headaches, but help provide a path to mitigate those to where people can come out on the other side. That's what it is that we do. And we could talk about this and for another 3 or 4 hours because again, that's my job. But I'm curious about you. I saw when we did a build pack event at Chicken and Pickle. Out in OP, you brought your business partner and, some other family members, and you were serious. That was like a serious game you were playing out there. And,
Are you a pickleball pro?
No, not a pickleball pro, but I'm a pickleball player.
I almost tore my ACL by proxy watching him contort himself out there. Yeah. I started getting a little ache down here in a little football injury.
I mean, I do physical therapy on my knees now, so I can play pickleball.
There you go. It's preventative therapy.
It is. You know what's funny? I wish I played tennis. My daughter plays tennis, and she is starting to, she's starting to compete with me at pickleball. Now I could dink it, and she doesn't know what to do with a small softball, but she can hammer that pickleball right at me. And she's only 13. I can't even warm up with her at tennis anymore. Like before her matches, it's embarrassing.
Isn't that fun though?
It is fun, but I have to lob the ball to her and she hits it back and I'm like dodging it. I'm like, whoa, holy smokes.
Mill ego's a little bit bruised.
I'm shooting a selfie video.
Exactly,
I can't get hit in the face.
Right? That's
right. Don't hit my moneymaker.
She rubs it in too. I mean, if you have a daughter, you understand. She reminds me of it. But I tell her I can build a better house than her. So.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I do love pickleball. It's fun. That and mountain biking is awesome.
So those are two things that I was going to ask. Yeah. If you weren't a home builder, right, and you could pick any career, I think I know what you'd say. But what would it be?
I mean, I chased music for a long time.
I knew you would.
And sometimes I regret not chasing that carrot long enough. But you're
a guitar player, right?
Yeah. And I don't play as much as I'd like to, and I still feel like I got one more album in me somewhere that when I'm going to be before 50, I'll get there.
Do it.
But I love playing guitar. I think music is and it actually, not to take too much time on it, but I think it's what gave me a love for construction. And I had people ask me like, how music, especially people who knew me in the music, my small music career I had, and how did I get to in construction and homes? And I felt like writing a song and layering a song between your drums, bass, guitar, vocals, keys, all the stuff you layer, it is so much like home building or construction. Construction is just layering of trades, layering of details. And honestly, when I kind of discovered that part of construction, I was like, writing a song is very project based. And once you're done writing a song, you kind of put it on the shelf. You're done with it finally, and it is what it is. You might always critique it. You might always hate certain parts of it.
I wish I did that, or
right?
Whatever.
But it's very similar to this project-based kind of layering of home building. And I know that could be a stretch for some, but for me, I feel like they're very.
I've never built a home, but I play in a band, and I've written songs, and I've recorded songs, and I do all that. And I could kind of see that. Yeah. You get your foundation as one. Where's the bass fit into it? Don't answer that. Leave it alone. Everybody picks on the bass player. No, that's incredible. Yeah, that's great. I'd love to hear some of your stuff sometime.
Yeah.
Well, this has been more of a diversified episode than I was anticipating. We had agriculture, we had music, we had home building, some Kansas City homerism.
Yep.
It's really cool stuff. But Joe, if you had to share just like one parting message for your fellow HBA members, for the broader public that was listening to this episode, just one random thing that you didn't get asked that you were just like, man, that'd be cool to share. Do you got something like that for us?
Yeah, I would say all home builders, especially I'm going to say non-national home builders, and all tradesmen, all subcontractors, most of us are just doing the best we can. So when somebody shows up to your door, maybe 15 minutes late because they're supposed to service your water heater or you're trying to fix your plumbing, just know it's a small business. He's probably a dad. He's got 2 or 3 kids, or he can be a mom, she could be a mom, and maybe she's a service tech. They're small businesses, and just enjoy the part that it's a small business. And maybe they don't always show up right on the dime. And maybe they don't always have the best system and service, and don't have the neatest app for you to log in on something, but it's just a small company, and they're trying to get it done. And they're going to do what they say. You might not always like it because it doesn't work as fast as your app. It might not always work as fast as all the cool technology, but they're small businesses. They're local. They're in your community. And I think that's the cool thing about
That is a
construction.
cool thing. Yeah.
And it's sometimes we kind of lose it because everything is so fast and instantaneous that we don't really appreciate that is what construction workers are. They're small businesses just trying to make a good living. And it's the cool part about it. It's cool that it's still analog a little bit. It's not all digital, and it's not all instantaneous. And it's the quirkiness that makes it really special.
Yeah,
That's great.
Yep, the computers can do a lot, but they can't climb a ladder or swing a hammer.
Amen.
So it's still
Right.
homes by people and for people.
Amen.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Joe. That's great parting words.
Yep, Joe, awesome for you to join us today, and appreciate you sharing some of those insights with us. If you, the listener, have a topic or a question that you would like to have answered on a future episode, please do go to kchba.org/podcast and drop us a note, and we'll see if we can't find an interesting person to help answer those questions for you.
Yeah.
But
Huge thank you to McRae Lumber today.
And every day.
And every day.
Appreciate all of those sponsors and all of the people that pour into the HBA every day. Joe has the worst paying job in home building, and that's being president of the KCHBA.
I get Diet Cokes once in a while.
That's good.
That's right. Talk about indentured servitude.
That's right.
But we're appreciative of all of our volunteers that make the HBA go. The HBA does have staff, but it really is a member-driven organization. So those folks that put that time and energy into making this place into what it is, people can get mad at Will Reuter as a staff member. That's fine. But I'm just trying to represent the interests of the small businessmen and women who patronize the HBA.
Sure.
And this place wouldn't exist without you. So we appreciate that. So this has been another production of the HBA After Hours podcast. Hope you guys have a great one. Thanks.
See you next time.